Bro, Cinco.
Hello, everybody. It's me, Tyler, and I'm with Tyler and Lane. It's the Extravagantly Reoccurring Power Half Hour Thursday edition. Say hello to your mother for me.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, we got an issue.
Happy Mother's Day.
We're glad that you're here right now. It's going to be a great show. Like I said, as always, I've got Lane with me, as well as Tyler Twombly, and I'm Tyler Holland, and we are the Extravagantly Reoccurring Power Half Hour Thursday edition. So today we've got an awesome show. We've got favorite toy. We've got a very special secret segment coming up in just a little bit. So those of you who have been wanting a little more of a female touch to the show, you will be encouraged. We've got movies with Lane, where we're going to be talking about our favorite 3 live-action Disney movies. Live-action Disney movies, not just the ones that have come out in the past 5 years, but ever. So be thinking about that. Let us know what they are on your opinions. And then we're all going to be talking about the closest that we've been or felt to God. We want to hear that from you as well. But first, guys, how's the life in quarantine going?
It's good. It's been a good week.
Solid.
Nice.
Did some grocery shopping yesterday. Yeah.
Do you actually go in the store, or do you call it in?
I went to Target and just walked around. I knew what I needed to get.
Oh, Target. I went there today, looked for some toys that didn't have the ones that I wanted, so I just got some for my kids because
they didn't have bagels either. I was a little mad.
Tyler, how about you?
I finally found a Disney movie that Nolan liked. I finally
What's
found
that?
one. Emperor's New Groove. He laughed the
Oh,
whole
yeah.
time through the whole movie. I didn't realize that it is, in some sense, the animation, the kind of the plot of the movie. It's a little more kiddie. There's a lot more slapstick, and I think he's into that. He laughed several times, and we were like, why couldn't you do this to Mulan? Or, I don't know, Aladdin, anything.
Mulan's a very serious movie, though. There's big implications to everything that's happening in there. But I guess David Spade turning into a llama is a big deal, too.
I don't know. It didn't seem to bear the weight at the time. He laughed about it.
I see Evie in here. What's up? I see Kayla. Kayla says, I'm ready for quarantine to end because my family is driving me insane.
Hello.
Kayla, is this really Daisha? And are you talking
Mr.
about me?
Or Mrs. Spotted Eagle Ray.
Spotted Eagle Ray. Peter, what's up? I don't know which Tyler you're saying hey to. Sam Hanley.
Oh my God.
FOR. Right? I don't know what that means. Yeah. So thank y'all for being here. Let's jump into favorite toy, okay? And I meant to bring up my favorite toy because I actually still have it. But so what I asked these guys to do, what I'm going to ask you to do in the chat is talk about the favorite toy that you've ever had. I don't care what kind of toy it is, just whatever comes to mind where you're like, you know what, this toy elicits positive emotions within my heart. That's what I want to hear about right now. So Nightwave is writing interesting things in the chat that he should probably delete. But we Tyler saying wink wink. Favorite toy. So Lane, why don't you start us off with the favorite toy of your life?
All right, favorite toy of my life. There's an obvious incorrect choice here. If you know me, everyone knows that I love Legos. Legos are the end all be all toy of the eternity of everything. Legos are awesome. They're great. They're good for all ages. Do love Legos. I also want to do
Legos for everybody.
I that's right. Bernie Legos. I also want to do a shout out to two other types of toys that I really cherished as a child. I really loved Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars. Loved those. And then throwing it back real good. Rescue Heroes. The big meaty feet action figures that were they were superheroes, but they were also like firemen and policemen and nurses and stuff like that. Giving those public service people a good name. So, good stuff.
Solid. Hey, in the chat, be letting us know what your favorite toy ever has been. Siobhan says every Lego I've ever built.
That's right.
Sam Hanley says that he didn't mean to send FOR. He's on his iPhone.
Wow.
Lol.
Strong words from Julie Cronin.
What a rookie mistake.
Kayla's like, a light bright has to be my favorite. Has
Light
to be,
brights are
right?
cool.
Go ahead, Tyler. What's yours?
So I was really into Power Rangers, specifically the SPD edition. I had a blue Power Ranger. So my thing with toys was that they had to be posable because I liked doing sport actions with them. So I was really into that one.
Legos could do this.
His arms popped off.
I think what you're trying to say is articulated. There are several points of articulation on different kinds of toys, but go ahead.
But by far my favorite, nerd, by far my favorite
You
was
get
I
fired.
had a Silver Surfer action figure. He was awesome. Every part of him was, what did you call it?
Articulate.
Desley,
was
if
very
you're
articulate.
watching right now, bring me my Silver Surfer action figure from downstairs in the shelf. It's in front of the
Nuh-uh.
Dragon Ball Z
Does
character.
Desley know who Silver Surfer is?
That's
I'm gonna
really
be
easy to
real
figure out.
proud.
Surfboard and he's silver. It's not that
He's
hard. to
It'll
figure
be
incredible.
like Groot trying to bring
He
Rocket
had,
Raccoon the headpiece.
He had elbow pieces. He had actually kind of like a real good, like, what is this spot? Your shoulder, but not
That
your
is
blade.
called your shoulder,
the
yeah.
socket.
Rotator cuff.
His rotator cuff, real flexible.
Did he have to
all
get
his
Tommy John?
knees. It was the top of his knee and the bottom of his knee bent, so you could have him like kind of hunched, or
Yeah.
like, ankles, the whole thing. It was awesome.
I think we've got a delivery. Somebody come. Desley, you
Special
got it?
delivery.
Special delivery. Special delivery from Desley Ann Holland. Come say hello to everybody, Desley. This is my beautiful little girl
Hey,
here.
Desley.
All right. Thank you so much. Silver Surfer right here. You
Desley.
get this bad boy.
Yeah,
This is
that
the
was
Marvel
him.
Legends. Legends Silver Surfer. This was a Walgreens exclusive. I also had the one that you're talking about. That was, I think, a Marvel Classics.
Good
Yeah,
old
the classic.
Norin Rad.
Hey,
Is that
deep
one your
cut by
favorite?
Lane. I'm proud of you, man.
Thank you.
Is this my favorite? No, but I like it.
Tragic story, but by far one of the best characters. Absolutely.
I am ready for that character to be in the MCU.
What?
He was a herald of Galactus. Galactus was a world-eating celestial.
That's right.
He was a servant. He wasn't just like a herald. He was like indentured servitude.
Yeah, he was a bond servant.
But he was blessed with the power cosmic. So
that's right.
We all know what that means. My favorite toy, I think it was Easter of like 1992. X-Men the Animated Series, as you all know, is something that's dear to my heart. And the Easter Bunny brought me a Wolverine and a Sabretooth action figure. And this was like 4.5, 5-inch line action figures. I still have the Wolverine downstairs. I actually have both of them. Sabretooth lost his arm. And I can't decide if the Wolverine is the first one I ever got or like a replacement one. But anyway, it's the same kind of toy. But it's my favorite one ever. It started, honestly, what started my love of action figures was probably Batman and then the Ninja Turtles. But then once I got the superheroes, it just exploded and never stopped. So
Ninja Turtles, one of the most underrated cartoon series.
Oh yeah,
gotta be
so good.
Fun fact: my dad's first word was Batman, so I've come from a good family.
Oh, and old. I mean,
real strong lines you got there.
So anyway, that's my favorite toy. Let us know in the comment section what yours are. Don't forget, if you're 11 or 12, get your parents' comment. If you're above that, then feel free to comment yourself. I think now would be a great time, if it's possible, to dive into our super secret segment. You want to check on that, Tyler?
Yeah, I'm going to see it. Hold on. I'll be right back.
While he does that, Lane, why don't you tease us by giving a couple of honorable mention movies that didn't make your top 3?
I see. Okay, so obviously today we are talking about live action Disney movies, and for me there are 3 obvious answers, and 2 of them that did not make the cut are Tron, the new Tron Legacy, and the live action Lindsay Lohan Parent Trap 1998. And now here's Brittany.
Brittany Twombly, welcome to the Power Half Hour. We're so glad to have you here. Brittany, before you dive into the reason that you're here, why don't you tell everybody just who you are and 2 most interesting things about yourself?
Okay, I'm Brittany, Tyler's wife. We have a son named Nolan, and I really like.
Did you say that as a question? You do have a son named Nolan.
Interesting. I like French dressing on everything.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Brittany, as you know, that we're having a favorite Christmas discussion in just a little bit, but you
Uh-huh.
have a little different kind of story to tell us about this. So why don't you just dive into it?
This is not a favorite Christmas tradition. This is an awful one, or Christmas gift. This is
We're here
awful.
for you,
So,
Brittany.
yes. So in high school, I was known for being very bad with my phones. I put it and it fell out of my pocket in the toilet, the sink. One time I ran over it with the car.
Ooh.
So my
Wait,
sister,
tell the kids, this isn't the kind of phones that they have now. Like, what kind of phones are we talking about?
oh, like a pink razor,
Oh
like a
yeah,
it,
I never had a
We're
razor.
we're gonna have to
Real
explain to them
time.
what razors are though, because they don't know this. So
Motorola razor.
it's
it was
story
very
time, boys and girls.
it was
So,
very slender and it was
uh-huh.
hot pink and it flipped open.
And razors were like the thing. That's like the kind
They
of phone
were.
that everybody wanted to have.
It's
And the
right
hot pink one was really good for me.
Yeah.
I like the hot
for
pink.
you.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So I had a lot of phones. So one Christmas, you know how you get upgrades? If you're good with your phone, you get an upgrade. So I opened a flip phone because I didn't have a phone and I needed a new one. And then my sister opened her present and it was a new iPhone. So she got a freaking iPhone.
Was this like the first iPhone?
Yes, she got an
Uh,
iPhone for Christmas, and the same year I got a flip phone for
Now
Christmas.
was she an older sister or a younger sister?
No, she's younger than me, but she took care of her phone. She had an upgrade, and I did not take care of my phone. I did not have an upgrade, so I opened a flip phone
So what
before
kind of
her, and
discussions
I was
came out of
excited to open it. I was like, "Oh yay, a phone!" And then she opened it, and I was like, when she opened, I was like, "Are you kidding me? Like, are you serious right now? You just gave her an iPhone." So I was kind of mad about it. Actually, I was really mad about it.
it seems like you're totally not mad anymore about it.
I still am mad about it. It
That's all.
was
How much younger is your
yeah.
sister that
What?
how much younger is your sister that she got this iPhone?
She's like 2.5 years younger, but she's very good with her things,
I
unlike
see.
me. Yeah. So
Well, that is
that was not a good Christmas gift, but everybody remembers and everybody laughed at me because of my reaction.
I think it's
Well,
understandable.
did you at least have a good Christmas dinner that year?
I guess so, but I was mad
I
the whole
guess so.
time.
Wait, so how old were you at
Eating.
this point?
I was in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
Brittany, thank you so much
You're
for
welcome.
sharing your Christmas story. Thank you for coming to the show. We hope to have you back soon.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right. Amy says my first phone died super quick.
I've never
Listen,
done
guys
that.
and girls, here's the deal. Cell phones came out in mass when I was in like seventh grade. So when I was like a young middle schooler, I had to carry around my dad's bag phone. Like, so when I went to basketball practice, it was literally like a little miniature suitcase, and I would put it in the bleachers, and I would unzip it after practice, take it out, and hold it with two hands and call my dad. And then there were these
That's
things
right.
called car phones that were just phones that stayed in the car that were like
Brittany had
part
one
of
of
your
those
car.
too. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was things have come a long way.
Hmm.
Um,
The mayor has a car phone in Stranger Things season 3.
oh, there you go. There you go. Why don't we do this? We're going to rearrange the segments just a little bit because it's more natural. We're going to dive into favorite
Sure.
Christmas stuff right now,
That's
and
right.
then we're going to go to movies with Lane. So,
Sure.
favorite Christmas, guys. Tyler, why don't you tell us what your favorite Christmas was?
I had a lot of favorite Christmases. When I was younger, my parents bought me New England Patriots full equipment. It was something you could buy at Walmart. Came with a helmet, a cheap jersey, a pair of pants, like football
Footballs you
pants,
can deflate?
and it was awesome. It was totally cool. Hey, it didn't happen in the first half. Totally killed me. Or no, it did happen in the first. Wait. So,
Go on.
anyways, so there was that, and there was I got it was kind of like foosball, but it was hockey, and it was like dudes on little sticks that you whipped them
Yeah, yeah.
around. And they played hockey. That was one of my favorites. Another one, I got a PlayStation 2 one year.
Mm.
Mine had broke, and my parents replaced it. But my favorite one by far is this soccer jersey that I'm wearing. This is for FC Barcelona, the team in Spain. I really liked them in high school, and my mom put this in a Bic pen box. It was like this big. She folded it up. I was so sad. I didn't think I was gonna get it. Opened it up. Boom. Shirt. So
I think
That's
the most
great.
impressive part of that
thank
story
you,
is
thank
that you still fit in your jersey from high school.
Thank
If I put
you.
on my basketball jerseys that I got from high school, I would look like Will Ferrell in the cowbell skit with my gut hanging out. So, that's cool. It's memorable Christmases. Lane, what did you have?
So I'm gonna one up your big pin box, Tyler.
Oh
Um,
no.
so um,
2 jerseys.
so this was 2003 when I was in 3rd grade. Came downstairs and where the gifts usually were on Christmas morning, there were 2 paper bags, like paper sandwich bags. One of them said my name and one of them said my sister's name. And we looked in the bag and there was charcoal and sticks from the yard and a note telling us how awful we had been this year.
That's incredible.
I
Santa's going hard.
I started to cry. I was confused. I didn't know what had happened. My dad started laughing and said, "Let's check. Let's check the other room. I think Santa has just played a joke on you."
That's
So we go into
awesome.
the other room, and
Still
our
crying.
gifts were there. Our gifts were there. I got a battery-powered foldable Episode 2 Anakin Skywalker. I got some Legos that year. I got some Nerf guns. Like it was a good year. It's a very funny story that I can look back upon fondly.
That's
That's
awesome.
hilarious. I
Oh,
think
that would be
Santa played
awesome.
a trick on you. What?
Yeah,
What do you mean? I thought he was a
that would
straight
be
shooter.
Are you?
um,
Go ahead. Never mind.
I was just gonna say mine. I had a lot of Christmases that were real fun. Obviously, right now we're talking about the material side of Christmas. We're gonna talk about things of a spiritual nature in a minute. They're more important.
Sure.
But I remember coming. I think it was a 2-story house that we had. We lived in several houses when I was a kid, but I came downstairs and there was a room where all of our. I'm the oldest of 5. I think at this point there were 4 of us, and it was probably like 1995, 1994, so I would have been like 10 or 11. And so there might have only been 3 of us because I'm 11 years older than one of my brothers. But I walk in there and we all have a little spot set up, and Santa didn't wrap our presents. They were all just out. And there was a TV that on the front of it had the red, yellow, white things. And you kids right now don't understand this probably because of HDMI, but that's how you hooked up video games to it. So I could put my Nintendo 64 in that.
Still do.
I know, actually, you know what? It was my Sega Genesis I could put in that because Nintendo 64 didn't come out till later. But yeah, so I got
Good
one of those
system.
TVs and then beside it, there was this Tupperware looking box that had X-Men painted on the outside of it. And my mom had painted like the X-Men, the animated series Wolverine logo on the outside of this box. And then just lined up, there were like a minimum of like 20 X-Men, the animated series action figures. And I was just like, it's all
Ridiculous.
downhill from here. Like, this is it. Like this is peak life. 1994 Christmas.
You were
Whatever
not
it was.
filled with joy. You were like panicking, like it doesn't get better after
This
this.
is too good. I can't reach this level again. I don't understand.
What
I've
have
just
you
been buying
done?
toys ever since. But it was awesome. I vividly remember it. I still have a lot of those toys. They're downstairs and my kids play with them all the time. There was one little beast toy, like actually it was the old version of this action figure. And he had this thing on his back where you could make him do a backflip and land. And there was like a
What?
Cyclops that you could push a button and you could see the red coming out of his eyes and it still works. There was a Magneto that sparked in his chest. And like there was all sorts of cool toys, but it was awesome. That was my favorite Christmas. I had a lot of good Christmases with a lot of video games or toys and stuff like that, but that's the one that sticks out to me the most. Let us know
That's a good
in
one.
the comment section what your favorite kind of Christmas like that was. But in a minute, we're going to dive into like stuff that's really important. But before that, we're going to talk a little bit about favorite live action Disney movies.
That's right. I gave you a little sneak peek earlier, but we're gonna do our top 3. So yeah, here we go. So Twombly, do you want to go ahead and give give us your top 3, and then we'll go over to
I would
Holland.
love to. Number 3 is currently streaming on Disney Plus. It's one of the most underrated live action Disney movies ever. It stars the same kid that played in Rookie of the Year. If maybe
Mhm.
some of you have seen that, kid breaks his arm, becomes an awesome pitcher for the Cubs. It's not believable, but anyway, so this is about that kid going back in time to play, to become a knight in King Arthur's court. It's called A Kid in King Arthur's Court. Classic.
Classic.
That's
He
awesome.
brings
That's
out
right.
high top shoes. He's wearing a baseball uniform. He gets the girl, comes back to win a baseball game. It's awesome. It's a great
I didn't
movie.
put together that was the same kid.
Yeah, totally the same kid.
That's awesome. My number 3, and this is difficult to do, but my number 3 is going to be the original Parent Trap, not the Lindsay Lohan one, but the original one. For some reason, I just remember that watching that all the time when I was a kid. I think it just came on the Disney Channel all the time, but that was a good. It's the one where there's twins that aren't really twins; they just happen to look exactly like each other, and I don't know. It's a strange movie, but I liked it. So that's my number 3.
Great. My number 3. Let me think. Oh yeah. My number 3 is a remake of a classic. Came out not too long ago. It is the remake of Cinderella, the one with
It's a good one.
Lily something. I forgot her last name. Lily James. Yeah. Great movie.
Oh yeah, really good.
It's beautiful, beautiful set design, beautiful costumes. Great remake.
It's art.
It's art. I've never seen
Film
it.
movies are art. Holland and
Do
Twombly.
you like rom-coms?
Uh,
Not you.
I
Tyler.
like select rom-com.
Same.
I know Tyler likes rom-coms. I think he actually would enjoy this. It's pretty good, actually. If you like the cartoon Cinderella, you'll enjoy this.
I did. That's one of my least favorite animated Disney movies.
I don't
But
care
then
for the
it'll be
original
your
that
most
much, but the new
favorite
one's
live
great.
action movie because they've not been great. There,
Let's
But
go
I
to
said it.
Tyler's number 2. What's your number 2?
My number 2 is Angels in the Outfield.
good
Very
choice.
classic movie about this kid hoping on God to help
Christopher Lloyd?
I think they were the California Angels at the time to help the Anaheim Angels, whatever, win the pennant so his dad will come home. His dad still doesn't come home.
So the comment section is interesting right now. It says
Newsies
people
is
giving some good comments. Maurice the Great saying Pirates of the Caribbean 1, Rogue One again. I would argue
One
that
is
Pirates of the Caribbean
awesome.
1 is a great choice, and both Rogue
Mhm.
One statements are hot
Fair.
garbage. If there
What?
are, I don't know how many Star Wars movies there are. Let's just say there's 20. I would put
11.
Rogue One at about 19, right before what was it? The one that ruined Luke Skywalker a few years ago. But yeah.
Really?
Anyway, Newsies.
Jesus.
Oh,
Hot-
how did I not think of Newsies?
hot takes
Damn,
from
good
Tyler.
Newsies is
call. Good call. I fell asleep in Rogue One. It just was not entertaining to me.
What?
Hot takes.
I will say
almost
the very last scene. It's been out long enough for us to spoil it. Where Darth Vader is like just destroying people is awesome. I can't
Yeah,
take away
it
from
makes
that.
the movie. I mean, without
That's
it, it's
legit.
an okay movie.
One
but
scene
also
cannot make a
that.
boring movie not boring anymore, though.
It totally
That's-
does. You're wrong. No, you're totally wrong.
Lane, it's you, right? Number 2?
I think so. I was just recovering from the pain and hurt that you gave me when you said you don't like
Yeah.
Rogue One.
Rogue One's in my top 5.
I love Rogue One.
My
Unashamedly.
hottest takes is Solo is 10 times the movie that Rogue One is.
Ooh, that hurts even worse.
My hot take is that Solo is also in my top 5.
Mm.
There it is.
And to think we cut this one down to 3. Anyway, my number 2 is the one and only National Treasure. It's fantastic. It's got Nicolas Cage, the great. It's got humor. It's got action, adventure. It's got history. It's just all you need. It's great.
It's got a
It was a
character.
good movie. My dad liked
I
this movie.
think
a lot.
you should have zigged one other zag and said that National Treasure 2 is far superior to 1.
I also enjoyed National Treasure too.
I did too.
I heard there's been a rumored third one forever.
There's been a rumored third one since the second one came out, but it is happening.
Nightwave said, Holland, you've been diagnosed with a terminal case of bad opinion.
It's
all
at
right,
least unpopular.
It is unpopular. That's why I said it's a
It
hot
is
take.
unpopular.
It's unpopular.
Yeah,
Peter
not
says
as hot
Alice
as
in
the surface
Wonderland.
of the planet the Death Star destroyed.
So true.
Too soon.
Peter says Alice in Wonderland #3, Lion King #2, and Newsies #1. I
Newsies is
honestly
really
feel
good.
bad that I didn't have Newsies in my top 3. I would like to retroactively put Newsies as #3, and my #2 is Mighty Ducks 2. Mighty Ducks 2 is a fantastic
Wow,
movie.
you did that because you know what
Um,
my #1 is.
and yeah, there's that. So I guess we're to Lane. I don't know. Who are
#1.
we at? Number
Oh
1?
yeah, Lane, what was your 2?
Eh,
Oh, National
My
Treasure.
my
I'm
2
at
was
number
National
1.
Treasure. Has anybody given their number ones?
No,
No,
here it
so
is. Mighty
Tyler did
Ducks
All
that.
right.
2. All
All right,
ducks
go ahead.
fly together. That's all you need. All ducks fly together, and then the scene where the kid from Texas like is juggling a puck. It's
Uh-huh.
really hard. Great scene.
Yeah. Solid.
Awesome
Solid.
pepper and eggs. What I mean, sorry. Go ahead.
Lane? Or no, it's me, isn't it?
Yeah, it's your turn.
My number 1 is something that people don't really think about a lot. It's a movie that we forget about, but you shouldn't. It's Sorcerer's Apprentice with Nicolas Cage. That's right.
Another
Sorcerer's
Nicolas Cage.
Apprentice. Super fun movie,
It's
fun
awesome.
songs in it. And it's one of those
Good
movies.
action.
I think that this happens less and less because we're so on demand and can put whatever we want on Netflix, whatever. But like
True.
when movies would just come on, if you're watching regular TV and stuff, that's one of those movies that if it just happens to be on, I end up just not turning away from it. I just want to keep on watching it, even though I know exactly what's going to happen. So I like that movie a whole lot, Sorcerer's Apprentice. So Lane.
All right. So this is not so hot of a take, and if this, I'm ashamed that this wasn't on both of y'all's lists anywhere. We've got the first Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow. Man, like it's unbeatable. It's great. It was Disney's first PG-13 movie. Christian moms everywhere freaked out, but it was still good anyway.
Jeez,
Old
deep
tape.
cuts.
Oh, you can dress your hate mail, Lane.
That's right.
Yeah, this is Lane Doctrine.
It was
That
great.
hot
Love
man.
Pirates of the Caribbean.
Great
And
soundtrack. Incredible soundtrack.
and here's an even hotter take. The second and third Pirates of the Caribbeans are also good. So take that for what it is.
I agree with that, but I think they made some after that that are bad.
I'll agree.
Yeah, I can't remember if 3 or 4 is bad. It's probably both.
I remember loving the first one, liking the second one. Is the third one the one with Davy Jones?
Second and 2 and 3 are Davy Jones.
Yeah, I can't really remember what's all happens in it's been a while. I just know that the soundtracks make those movies.
Hans Zimmer.
I
Yeah,
just
so
tried
good.
to sing it, and then
All
I
right, well,
copyright.
there are our top 3 favorite live Disney movies. Samuel Henley says Black Pearl is top 15 movie all time. That is a hot.
Grossing. He might be right.
Yeah, I'm not
could
arguing
be.
with that.
I mean, if we had more time, I would. But we've got to move on to Spit and Truth. It is time for Spit and Truth, and today we're all going to kind of take turns talking. I want to read a passage really quick. And James is an awesome book of the Bible, and specifically James 4. It says, starting in verse 7, submit yourselves therefore to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. Cleanse your hands, you sinners. Purify your hearts, you double-minded. And then it goes on in verse 10, humble yourselves before the Lord, and he will exalt you. Before that, it talks a lot about not being into material things and of the world, but focusing on God. And we've talked about that actually yesterday on our Bible talk with Tyler and Tyler about really setting our minds on things above and really focusing on what Jesus has in store for us. But I thought that would be kind of an interesting dynamic to move from, hey, what is our favorite Christmas based on stuff, based on things, honestly, that are just part of, we happen to be in a fortunate part of the world where our parents were able to give us silly things that in the scheme of things don't hold any eternal significance, but they're these positive memories that impacted our life in a cool way. But they're nothing compared to why we actually celebrate Christmas. They're nothing compared to having a relationship with the King of the universe. So what I wanted to talk about today was, let's try to pinpoint a time or some times in our life where we felt the closest to God. Understanding this, we're not always promised to have the warm and fuzzies, right? We're not always promised to feel super close. But I think that if you live long enough, if you have a long enough relationship with Jesus and you keep pursuing him, you're going to have moments that you can identify as, man, I lean on this moment in hard times. I might not feel it right now, but I remember how close I was to Jesus right here, and I'm going to lean on that memory and strive for that again. So Tyler, Lane, what do y'all think? What are some things that stick out in your mind?
Yeah, I've got a big thing for me. Um, so it's so when I was a sophomore in college, it was a transition time for the student ministry where our the student pastor we had for like 8, 10 plus years decided to go to a different church. He decided to move on, which was tough. But before that, him and I were leading a high school guys Bible study where we were systematically reading through the whole Bible in a year, and we would do a journal entry and take notes, and we would keep each other accountable for staying in the Word, and we would do this little fun thing where we would race each other to see who could wake up the earliest and read their Bible. So like I would be like, I'm gonna beat this high schooler and get up at like 4:45 and read the Bible, which I mean, whenever you read the Bible is an okay time to read the Bible. But just like being constantly in the Word and constantly in fellowship every week, being accountable to each other and discussing what we've read together, and then like going through that transition that was difficult and continuing to lead those high school guys that are almost graduated from college now, um, was just really good to just be with the Lord and just go throughout the day having 4 or 5 or 6 chapters of the Bible read. So like really like challenging material and like big chunks of scripture to read and think about every day. And like you said, Tyler, like it doesn't always have to be about the warm and fuzzies, because like I've had times where like I've had like Christian warm and fuzzies, but like that time of spiritual growth was about spiritual growth and not necessarily like how I felt, but like being sanctified through the word of God.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Thank you. Tyler, what about you?
Yeah, this one is not as much about the warm and fuzzies. I won't lie. It's actually a moment I kind of look back on as a failure. But I know that I was doing what God was calling me to do. So me and Brittany were in Portland, Oregon for 6 months. It's actually how we met. We were on an internship. It was a church planning like internship, and they told us to pretend like we were a new church and there were no other churches around us. Now, granted, we were all in our early 20s, so we had no idea what that meant at all. And they told us to follow the Spirit. So they gave us no direction and just kind of sent us out to do stuff. And I did not like that part because the internship needed structure in order for us to actually get stuff done, because all we did was hang out in the city all the time.
Organization is good.
Yeah, whispered Lane from the corner. But the not knowing what we were doing brought me closer to God, because it made me ask like what would his spirit want me to do in this moment. And the specific moment that I'll never forget is that there was this guy I had met named Jason. He was this homeless guy that sat by the food trucks all the time in Portland. And so occasionally I would like have lunch with him or something and try and get to know him. And it was never like super long. He didn't talk very much. And I kind of had given him the reason why I was there before, like just to live in Portland and to try and preach the gospel about Jesus. And I guess I gave him a short gospel presentation, but it was never, I never felt like it was super direct. And this one day, I just felt this inner conviction, like if I didn't go find him and give him the gospel, that he may never get it. And I honestly still feel that sometimes. So I felt this conviction. I said one of my friends like, "Hey, would you come with me to go like talk to this guy? I just need to find him." And my friend was kind of slow, but the conviction was so strong that I was like, "There's no way that this couldn't be God telling me to do this." So I went and I looked for him, and I couldn't find him. And
Hmm.
I don't think I saw him again after that. So there was probably it was a 3 month internship. This is probably around halfway to the end almost. Um, and yeah, I kind of felt like I failed because I felt like this guy needed to hear the truth, and I wanted to give it to him clear. And I couldn't find him. And that I'll just say, I think when we're called by God to do something, even if the end isn't what we expect, that doesn't mean it wasn't God telling us to do it. Um, yeah, and so that was when I know I felt closest to God, because it aligned with His will. He gave me a conviction to do so. Like my desires were lining up with His. Like I was like, I just have to go do this, no matter how scared I am.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I look back on that a lot.
that's good. Thank you. That goes along with what we say all the time of be faithful in process and trust God with the results.
Yeah,
We might have results in our mind of how we things, or we do have in our minds how we want things to play out. And it was like, hey, here's
yeah,
the best case scenario. But just because the best case scenario doesn't happen doesn't mean we're not following God's will or that He's not
yeah,
a presence in our life, right?
yeah.
Um,
Right.
kind of two quick moments in my life. One, I was in my early 20s. I was a counselor at a camp called Kanakuk that was awesome. And we had this thing called work week every year before the campers got there. And we would basically, do all the yard work and get the cabins ready and get the activities ready and all that kind of stuff. And then we would have worship and like the Lord's Supper and all that kind of stuff before the kids got there the night before. And we did that one night and just like had a worship for like an hour and had the Lord's Supper. And it was the first time in my life. I'm sure that somebody had told me this before, but it was the first time that I'd actually listened to somebody saying, "Hey, the Bible is very clear about if you're having the Lord's Supper, you need to deal with whatever you need to deal with, and make sure that you have a good spirit and that you're free of any junk, and before you go and do something like that because it's really serious." And we had just been in this great time of worship, so I like dealt with God, like I prayed and I talked to Him a lot, and then we worshiped and we had the Lord's Supper, and it was just one of those like super clearly, like I'm not a singer. I'm not like hey, let me go and try to let people hear me sing or anything like that. But I was just like singing to God and I felt close to Him and I felt like I was uh connecting heart to heart with Him. It was just a very clear moment in my life of I feel God's presence. And then the other time was when Desley was a baby. We lived in this little bitty apartment in Harrison, Arkansas. And it was before Billy Graham had passed away. He and Lecrae did this kind of special video thing that was I don't know how to describe it. It was really just like a hey, here's the story of revival and Billy Graham, and then the story of Lecrae and some other people that were like famous singers and stuff like that. But just talking about the really getting the gospel out there from different cultural points of views and stuff like that. And for some reason, even though it's the same kind of message I'd heard a million times with Desi laying on the bed, my first child, I was watching with Daisha, I was just like, man, Jesus didn't just die for me; He died for Desley too. He died for my daughter,
Mhm.
and that hit me in like a different way than it had ever hit me before. Because I've honestly kind of been selfish about like my relationship with Jesus before that. Of all right, Jesus died for me. I know that I need to ask me. When really it's all about Jesus. But then specifically when you have a child one day, or when you have a spouse, or when you have a child or children, and you love somebody truly deeply 100% more than yourself, and you realize hey, the only reason you get to love them is because of what Jesus has done. And not only that, but He loves them so much that He's offered them a way to be saved from hell. Like that is this crazy realization, and it led to this like real moment of closeness with God, and just something that was really important to me, that is really important to me for all of my children obviously. But those are my moments. So I would ask you in the comments, or in the everybody watching right now, to think about what moment can you lean on in your life to say like I know that I felt God's presence right there. If you haven't ever, or if you don't know Jesus, if you've never given your heart to Him, then please talk to one of us about that. We want to talk to you about that. We want to talk to you about problem solution response, about repenting of your sin, about confessing with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believing in your heart that He's raised from the dead and you will be saved. He offers that to all of you. um and if you do know Him already, think about when it was that you have felt the closest to Him, and think about what it would mean to always be seeking that and to always be pointing people to have that same kind of experience. Because what it's all about at the end of the day, what life is about at the end of the day, is being a disciple who is 100% sold out to Jesus, who is going out and making other disciples who are also 100% sold out for Jesus. Like that's what it's all about, is glorifying the King of the universe. So, um, yeah, that's the show for today. I hope you enjoyed it. We have church Sunday morning, 9:30. Please join us there. We'd love to have you. And we'll see you back here next week on Thursday for this, Wednesday for Bible talk. a special announcement about Tuesday for middle schoolers is coming up pretty soon. So keep an eye out for emails on that and Instagram and stuff like that. And then we have the Monday night Bible study as well for high schoolers that is now combined boys and girls. So yeah, we're excited that you're here. It's good to be back with you. We love y'all. We're praying for you. As always, for Lane, for Tyler, I'm Tyler. Be bright and stay classy.